Hello everyone, this is the Gaming Preacher and welcome to lesson 2 of how to speak Southern or how to understand Southerners. I hope you enjoyed lesson 1, so let's get started. Are you ready? Well, here we go with lesson number 2. First, we're going to start off with a few more words that will help you get around when you're traveling through the South. This first word today you might hear if you're traveling through the South and we're anticipating a really bad rainstorm, or maybe we've already had a torrential rain. You might hear someone say that we've had a real big gully washer, or we're going to have a real gully washer. And that word gully washer, or that phrase gully washer, what that means is that we had a torrential rainstorm, that it was so much rain that it just washed the gullies out. So you might hear someone refer to a rainstorm that's really bad as a gully washer. Now this next word is another one of those sort of contraction kind of words, and it's imma, and that's spelled A-H-M-A. Now what that actually means is I am, or we use it a lot of times when we're saying I'm going to do something, we'll say I'm a going to, or I'm a fixin' to, if you want to mix in a few more Southern words. So if you hear someone say the word imma, what they're actually saying is I am, or I am going to do something. Now this next word is a great old Southern word, and it's hankerin. Now, when we say that we're hankering, it means that we're desiring something, that we're wanting something. You might say, I've got a hankering for a glass of sweet tea. That means you've got an urge, or you've got a desire for a glass of sweet tea. So if you see someone in the South, or you hear someone in the South say that they have a hankering for something, it means they have a desire for it, or it's something that they want to have. Now, this next word has two meanings, and depending on what context you're used in. Now, the word mash can be used by some people to refer to, we'll call it a homemade liquor. I guess other people might call it moonshine, but mash is another word for homemade alcohol. Now, my real intent in using this word is to let you understand that this also means push. The Southerners, we normally don't say, can you push that button for me? We normally say, can you mash that button for me? You see, we don't push buttons in the South, we mash them. I guess that shows our passion and our intensity. We don't just push things, we mash them. You can also use that when referring to squashing a bug. You can say mash that bug, mash the button. So mash has a couple different meanings there, depending on what context you're in. Hopefully, if someone comes up to you in the South and asks you if you want any mash, you'll understand what they're talking about and you will decline. Now, those weren't too bad, were they? Good job. Now let's go over some more phrases that you might hear while you're traveling through the South. Now this next one is a classic Southern phrase, and it's bless your heart. And you've probably heard this on TV and on movies before. Now if you hear especially a Southern woman tell you, bless your heart, she might not really mean it. This can be translated as a general insult, or kind of another way to say, you're so stupid, or I'm sorry you're so stupid. So when someone says bless your heart, you got to really take into consideration the context of the conversation. Be aware though, in the right context, this can be used to show genuine concern for someone. Now, but if you hear someone come up to someone else and say, oh, that sure is an ugly baby, bless her heart, then she's, not being kind. She's saying that poor child is so ugly, bless his heart, it's going to have a hard time in life. So bless your heart is a classic Southern phrase that has a couple different meanings depending on your context. But a lot of times bless your heart is almost considered an insult in some cases. Now this next phrase is another great classic Southern one. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Now if you're got parents who live in the South, if you're married and you live in the South, mama sometimes refers to your wife. A lot of times we'll call our wives mother or mama because that's what the kids call them. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And that's a very true statement. And I think a lot of people who grew up in the South would agree with that as you were growing up as a child, if your mother wasn't happy, if something had gotten her irritated, gotten her upset, then nobody in the house is happy because mama is going to be on a tear. She's going to be on a rip. So we need to watch out, leave her alone, don't say anything, don't back talk to her. So that's a wonderful Southern phrase. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So there's a clue for you. Keep mama happy if you're in the South. Now this next phrase, fine as a frog hair. Now this can be used in a couple different ways. You could say about your current condition, oh, I'm fine as a frog hair. Or you could also say that something, some item, a string, something like that, a filament is as fine as a frog hair. Now understand this, frogs don't have hair, okay? So when you say something as fine as a frog hair, you're saying that it is really fine It's a very, very fine filament because frogs have no hair. So it must be very smooth. Also use it in terms of describing your current condition. How are you doing? Well, I'm fine as frog hair. Well, frog hair is very, very, very fine because, well, basically it doesn't exist. So if someone says, I'm fine as frog hair, they mean that they're doing great, they're doing wonderful, everything is fine with them. Also means something is very, very small, almost probably invisible. Now this next phrase is almost kind of a contraction, and you'll have to see the spelling here to really catch on, but you say it just like it's spelled. How's your mom and them? And that mom and them is almost said like it's one word. And what someone is asking basically is, how is your mom and them? See, in the South, mama is very important. Mama is crucial. So a lot of times when we're referring to a family, we'll start with mother and then add everyone else onto it. So if someone comes up to you and says, how's your mom and them? What they're asking you is, how is your mom and them? How is your mom and the rest of your family? So you have to be a little aware of listening with your ear on when people say something like that, when we cram all these letters all together and basically create a new word, your mom and them. So that's a phrase that you hear a lot around in the South. And it just kind of goes along with our casual way of talking sometimes. And now this last phrase for today is one that you don't hear real often, but I've heard it before. Not enough room to cuss a cat. And basically what you're describing there is that you're maybe in a space, you're in a room that is so small that you just can't even hardly turn around. You can also say the phrase, not enough room to swing a cat, meaning you would grab it by its tail and swing it around. So when someone says there's not enough room to cuss a cat, it means they don't have enough room to maneuver around, enough room to be comfortable, basically. You might be under the car working on your truck, under the engine, and you're trying to get to a bolt or a screw, and someone says, are you able to reach it? And you might say, there's not enough room in here to cuss a cat, meaning that it's a really tight space. Well, there you go, guys. There's lesson 2 for how to understand Southerners. I hope that you're learning something, and I hope that next time you're traveling through the South, maybe you'll be a little more comfortable, not only listening to us, but also speaking sort of our way of English. Guys, I hope you have a great day. God bless. And if you'd like to, please subscribe to my channel and keep up with upcoming videos. Leave me a comment below if you've got any questions or if you have any ideas for future Southern words and phrases. Y'all have a great day. Bye.